ever worried about charging or not charging sales tax, or which platform will file and collect for you or which ones don't, for many e-commerce sellers, it just feels like an impossible maze of rules, thresholds, and deadlines that you have to keep up with. We'll break it down in this video step by step. Product taxability, Nexus, when to start collecting sales tax, how sales platforms affect collection, 5 common mistakes, and making sales tax easy for yourself. Now, before we dive in, my name is Shakira. I'm a CPA and founder of Tapped Insider. We provide CFO services to e-commerce businesses, and we are happy to help you with any questions you have. So let's jump in. The first thing we're going to talk about is product taxability. Not all products and services are taxed the same way in every state. For example, in New York, clothing and footwear under $110 are tax exempt, but some local taxes may still apply. In Texas, clothing is fully taxable except during sales tax holidays. This means that selling the same product in different states can have different tax rules. You need to check whether your product is taxable in your Nexus states. Nexus is your business connection to a state that makes you responsible for collecting sales tax. There are 2 ways of determining Nexus: economic Nexus and physical Nexus. Economic Nexus is based on the state's sales volume. If you exceed a state's sales threshold, you have Nexus there. States change their thresholds from time to time, but let's just say if you make over 100,000 in sales or sell over 100 transactions, you're required to collect sales tax in that state, even if you don't live there. You've met their threshold. Every state has a different threshold. Avalara has a summary of economic nexus by state. I'll put the link below. Now, the second way of determining nexus is physical nexus. If you have a physical presence in a state, you have nexus there. Even if you have a warehouse, office location, store location, distribution center, storage place, or an employee in that state, that creates physical nexus. Now, an example of this is you're an Amazon FBA seller. Some states consider you have physical nexus because your goods are there. Each state handles this differently, while some states recognize you don't control third-party logistics like Amazon's FBA storage locations. Every state doesn't. For example, Arizona does not consider you having your goods stored at an FBA location as having physical nexus. However, Louisiana does. So you have to check which state does and which state doesn't. Recap of Nexus: economic Nexus, physical Nexus. Economic Nexus is based on sales volumes, either dollar or number of transactions. And there's physical Nexus if you're physically there or have a storage location, employee, or a distribution center. Next is, when do you start collecting sales tax? The measurement date is when you determine if you met a state's economic or physical presence threshold. Once you meet that date, you establish a tax collection obligation. For economic nexus, most states use a look-back period. For example, the previous calendar year or rolling 12-month period. They look back to determine if the business has exceeded the sales revenue or transactions threshold. The measurement date is when the business must check its sales activity against that threshold that state has. For example, Louisiana, like majority of states, simply state the previous or current calendar year. They want you to look at the previous year or just this year to see how much you've sold or the number of transactions you've sold. But Connecticut specifically states 12-month period ending September 30. So they want you to start looking back from September 30. Every state varies. You need to know what your state wants. For physical nexus, it is when your business establishes a presence. Example, when you hired an employee, started storing inventory, opened a store. Businesses should regularly review their measurement date so they know when to register with that state. Once they meet the threshold, they need to register and start collecting. Every state varies. Let's talk about how your sales platform affects who is responsible for collecting sales tax. If you're selling on a marketplace that helps you sell your products by listing them, process payments, and also collect and send sales tax to the state for you, that is a marketplace facilitator. It's easier for a state to collect taxes from one company like Amazon than from thousands of individual sellers. If you're selling on a marketplace facilitator like Amazon, Etsy, or Walmart, they handle all the collecting and sending of sales tax for you. You need to see if where you're selling is considered a marketplace facilitator. They have it on their website. You could simply type, is Amazon a marketplace facilitator? If selling on your website or a platform not a marketplace facilitator, you are responsible for collecting and reporting sales tax. Let's look at the sales tax from a perspective of what platform you sell on. We're going to go through 3 workflows to make it easier to follow. Let's get into it. Did I mention that we have a free school community for digital entrepreneurs and e-commerce business owners just like you? Yes, we do. It is where we answer pressing questions that you may have on a monthly call. And it's a community of like-minded people just like you.
Okay, so back to the video.
We look forward to seeing you there. All right, marketplace facilitator only sellers. If you're selling only on Amazon, Etsy, or any other marketplace facilitator website, quickly Google the platform you're selling on. For example, is Amazon a marketplace facilitator? It'll take you to Amazon's website where they answer that question. Every single platform will state it unequivocally on their website. Now, this scenario, we're talking about marketplace facilitator only sellers. Do you have physical nexus or economic nexus? In some scenarios, you have both. If you have both, follow through on both. If you have physical nexus, ask yourself, does the nexus state require you to include your marketplace facilitator sales in your sales tax report? If yes, you register, you include those numbers when you're filing your sales tax report. If they do not want you to include marketplace sales numbers, then you still register because you're physical nexus, but you will exclude those numbers even if you are reporting 0. Regardless, as long as you've met Nexus, you have to register and start filing because you have a filing requirement. Every state is different. Ask yourself, if it's physical nexus, do they want you to include it? Yes or no? Moving on. If you have economic nexus, you don't have to worry about anything if you're only selling on a marketplace facilitator's platform like Amazon, because they're doing everything for you. You only have to worry about your home state where you're operating your business from. If you don't have a storage location anywhere else, then you don't need to worry about it. Amazon is taking care of everything, or Etsy, depending on what platform you're selling on. Let's move on to the next scenario, which is for when you sell only on your own website. You do not sell on a marketplace facilitator's platform. You only sell on your own website. If that's your case, you have to ask, do I have physical nexus or economic nexus? If you have physical or economic nexus, you need to register in that state, collect, report, and send sales taxes to those states that you have nexus in. Now, we're going to move to a scenario of if you're selling both on your website and a marketplace facilitator's website. If you have physical or economic nexus, ask you, does this nexus state require marketplace sales included in their sales tax report? If yes, register, collect, report, and send sales taxes for those states. If no, you register and exclude marketplace sales when reporting. Each state varies. So this yes or no depends on each state that you have nexus in. You answer questions state by state because every state varies. Even if your sales only came from a marketplace facilitator in 1 month and your other non-marketplace platform, like your own website, didn't have any sales for that month, some states still require you to file a simple 0 return for filing compliance. You don't have anything to file, but you still have met physical or economic nexus threshold in that state, so you have file, okay? All right, I hope this explains everything. It uses workflow, it breaks it down, answer the questions and go through it. It'll simplify everything for you. Now, we're going to switch gears into discussing sales tax mistakes, the 5 most common ones that people make. First mistake is collecting sales tax in every state before you even actually have Nexus. I know it gets overwhelming with sales tax, but because you don't know how to handle it doesn't mean you should just go register in every single state and start collecting. It is illegal for you to collect sales taxes without having the permit for that state, without registering in that state and getting the permit to collect sales tax. Absolutely illegal. Number 2, not selecting the right product categorization when determining taxability. Remember my example before where in New York is taxable and in Texas is non-taxable for clothing? Whenever you're dealing with platforms like Amazon or Etsy, they usually have a product categorization. You need to select the right product category. If it's your website, make sure you have selected if it's taxable or not and put the right product category. They already have that automatically. But if you're using a third-party app on your own website, make sure the product categorization is correct when determining product taxability. Each state varies. Mistake number 3, charging the wrong amount of sales tax or forgetting to update your sales tax rates. Honestly, best thing you could do for yourself is use a tool that has all of this automatically updating for you. You do not want to be under collecting sales tax because that means you're going to have to be the one paying that difference. Don't make that mistake. Number 4, underreporting sales tax by excluding marketplace sales where they should be included. Some states want you to include it in your numbers, even though the marketplace has already reported it. The states that want you to include marketplace sales, they use it for reconciliations. So if you're excluding it on your numbers, it's going to be causing a lot of unnecessary just heartache for you. Make sure you include it. If they want you to include those numbers, do not exclude it. Okay. Mistake number 5 is missing the sales tax filing deadline. Penalties add up quickly. If you're missing tax filing deadlines, you're just asking for it. You need to make sure you have a calendar or something in place where you remember and you file on time. If you avoid these mistakes, you're already ahead of the game. Now, the easiest way to handle sales tax is what we're going to be talking about right now. Easiest way, option number 1, is just use an automation tool that does your sales tax compliance for you. We have TaxJar, Taxify, Numeral HQ, Avatax, all of them. All of them are great. They all have different ways they charge per transaction or flat fee. Some have better customer service than others. You need to do your research and figure out which one works best for your business. Sales tax can be complex. You can't keep up with all that by yourself. You need something to help you automate. If you're still selling 200 transactions per month or less, I would say you could still do that using those automation tools. Option number 2 is hiring a sales tax compliance firm like my firm, Tapped. We can help you automate everything and make sure that you're staying on top of things. We help with Nexus registration, state collections, reporting, and responding to notices. So that wraps up our sales tax guide video. Download our workflow to help you better understand your sales tax responsibilities. We really enjoy doing these videos for you. If you have any ideas on future videos that you want us to do, drop them in the comments. If this video helped you, thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe for more valuable content. Thank you. Bye.